Hello everyone, welcome to today's topic on endocrine functions. I am today's presenter Dr. Mausmi Shankar Adala, working as Assistant Professor in the Department of Biochemistry, St. Joseph's College for Women Autonomous, Vishakhapatnam. This lecture is a part of the certificate course General Physiology. It is a course of duration 8 weeks and it is for graduate students between first year and final year students. This is run by Department of Biochemistry, St. Joseph's College for Women Autonomous, Vishakhapatnam. The contents of this course include functions of thyroid gland, functions of parathyroid gland, functions of pancreas, functions of adrenal glands, functions of gonadal hormones. Functions of thyroid gland. The thyroid gland secretes thyroxine and triiodothyroxine hormones. These hormones regulate the basal metabolic rate of the body. These hormones control metabolism of carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. These are very much essential for normal growth and development. These hormones influence both physical and mental development. The thyroid gland, which is present in the body, is the main source for the enzymes thyroxine and triiodothyroxine hormones. These hormones also regulate the body temperature, which is essential for maintaining the balance. They help in maintaining the energy balance also. They are very important for normal functioning of the nervous system, which includes your neurons, axons, and dendrites. Iodine is an essential component for the synthesis of thyroid hormones, which is main reason for consuming the salt which is fortified with iodine. When there is an imbalance in these hormones, it leads to the major disorders like goiter and hypothyroidism. Hypothyroidism means very less amount of hormones are present, whereas hyperthyroidism means high amounts of hormones are secreted. Coming to the next, functions of parathyroid gland. The parathyroid gland secretes parathyroid hormone, which is called as PTH in abbreviated form. Parathyroid hormone regulates calcium and phosphorus levels in the blood, which is essential for maintaining the body homeostasis and also the energy balance. Parathyroid hormone increases calcium absorption from the intestine. Parathyroid hormone promotes reabsorption of calcium in the kidneys. It stimulates the release of calcium from bones. So, parathyroid hormone is mainly concerned with the calcium and phosphorus levels in the blood. The maintenance of calcium balance in the body is looked on upon by the parathyroid hormone. It is essential for the muscle contraction. I repeat, parathyroid hormone is essential for the muscle contraction. It supports proper nerve functioning. It also plays a major role in the bone health as it is one of the reasons for the calcium absorption from the kidneys and also calcium metabolism in the body. Now, deficiency of parathyroid hormone leads to muscle cramps and tetany, where you'll find the knocked bones. Coming to the next one, functions of pancreas. The pancreas we'll be reading under two subheadings, that is insulin and glucagon. Now, the present slide is about the insulin. The pancreas secretes insulin from beta cells. Insulin lowers the blood glucose level. Insulin is a peptide hormone. This hormone is made up of amino acids and usually peptide hormones are water soluble. So that is the reason they are unable to cross the cell membranes and enter the cells. So these hormones, that is a peptide hormones like insulin, they go bind on the cell on the outer surface. When they bind on the outer surface receptors inside the cell, when they are binding to the receptors, the secondary messenger system is activated. In this manner, this insulin shows its activity, the mechanism. So insulin lowers the blood glucose level. It promotes the uptake of glucose by the cells and then it converts the glucose into glycogen. Glycogen is a storage form. Glycogen in the liver and muscles. Therefore, it inhibits the breakdown of glycogen. The process of breaking down of glycogen is called as glycosinolysis. Now, this glycosinolysis is prevented by insulin because if the glycogen is a storage form of glucose, when the glycogen breaks, the glucose is released in the bloodstream. So, the glucose levels will be increased. Therefore, when the insulin is released, it will help the glucose to convert back into glycogen but not breaking down glycogen back to glucose. The deficiency of insulin hormone leads to a condition called as diabetes mellitus, where the persons who are affected with diabetes mellitus have high levels of uncontrolled glucose level. So this results in diabetes mellitus. Functions of pancreas with perspective of glucagon. Glucagon is also a hormone which is secreted by the alpha cells of pancreas. Whereas insulin was secreted by the beta cells, glucagon was secreted by alpha cells. This increases the blood glucose level. Okay, exactly it is the opposite. So it is called as antagonistic to insulin. Whatever insulin has done, exactly opposite glucagon will be doing. So here you can see it stimulates the breakdown of glycogen into glucose because glucose is converted to glycogen by insulin since it wanted to remove the glucose from the bloodstream, whereas glucagon increases the level of what you call the glucose level. So that is the reason it stimulates the breakdown of glycogen into glucose, and also it promotes gluconeogenesis in the liver. Gluconeogenesis, neo means new. In this perspective, gluconeogenesis means formation of glucose from non-carbohydrate sources. As we all know, glucose is a carbohydrate and it forms usually from carbohydrate sources like glycose and starch and all. Whereas there is a process called as gluconeogenesis, where the glucose is produced from non-carbohydrate sources like amino acids, fats, all. So this promotes the gluconeogenesis. So ultimately the aim of glucagon is to increase the glucose level in the bloodstream. So it is promoting gluconeogenesis and breakdown of glycogen. It is an opposite working mechanism of insulin. Glucagon oil helps to maintain the glucose homeostasis, and it is released during fasting conditions, obviously, because during fasting your food intake will be reduced. So when there are no carbohydrates, for the functioning of the brain you require glucose. For the occurrence of ATP you require glucose. From where the ATP will be formed, from where we get the glucose. In that perspective, the glucagon hormone that is released by the alpha cells of the pancreas, this hormone will help in it releases during the fasting conditions when the person is fasting, and it helps in increasing the glucose level. It provides energy during low glucose levels, and it supports metabolism during stress conditions. It prevents hypoglycemia. So the name says hypo means less, glycemia means glucose. Coming to the functions of adrenal glands, the adrenal glands consist of cortex and medulla. The cortex secretes corticosteroids. These hormones regulate the metabolism. They help in stress response. Again, I repeat, adrenal glands consist of two parts, cortex and medulla. The cortex hormones are called as corticosteroids. They help in stress response and they regulate salt and water balance, which is very essential for the functioning of brain. The medulla of the adrenal gland secretes adrenaline and non-adrenaline. Corticosteroids are secreted by the adrenal gland cortex, whereas medulla secretes adrenaline and non-adrenaline. These hormones prepare the body for emergencies. That's why adrenaline is called flight or fight hormone. So whenever there is a stress condition, this hormone will be released and it is very quick in action. They increases the heart rate and blood pressure during the stress conditions. They enhance energy availability. They support fight or flight response. Functions of gonadal hormones. Gonads include testes and ovaries. In males, we call it as testes. In females, we call them as ovaries. Testosterone regulates the male reproductive function and it promotes the development of secondary male sexual characters, whereas ovaries secrete estrogen and progesterone. So testes secrete testosterone hormone, Ovaries secrete two hormones, that is estrogen and progesterone. Estrogen regulates the female reproductive cycle and it promotes the development of secondary sexual characters in female. Progesterone maintains the pregnancy. I repeat, progesterone maintains the pregnancy. These hormones regulate reproductive process. So testes secrete testosterone, ovaries secrete estrogen and progesterone. Progesterone mainly is useful during the pregnancy, whereas estrogen is responsible for secondary sexual characters in female. Testosterone is responsible for secondary sexual characters in male. These hormones regulate the reproductive process and they are very much essential for sexual maturation. Summary: we have a thyroid gland secrete the thyroxine, and these hormones regulate the basal metabolic rate. Adrenal glands secrete have cortex and medulla. The cortex secretes corticosteroids, and medulla secretes adrenaline, flight or fight hormones. The parathyroid hormone secretes the parathyroid hormone, which is essential for the calcium and phosphorus levels maintenance in the body. Insulin decreases the blood glucose level, whereas glucagon increases the blood glucose level. And the gonadal hormones like testosterone and estrogen and progesterone are helpful for secondary sexual characters and maintenance of reproductive system. Thank you.